So, I don't even know why I'm laughing. It's so funny. Aaron Pierre apparently has a son. Okay? Who really cares, right? Well, the women online care. They think that Aaron Pierre's son is white or half white, which is obviously a problem because why is Aaron Pierre allowed to date white women? Why did he ever date white women in the past? Why is he allowed to have preferences and I don't know.
If a man is allegedly an active father and not a deadbeat, and he does not share with the world the fact that he had a child, what he is hiding from the world is not that child. What he is actually hiding from the world is the baby mother. And more likely than not, that baby mother is probably white. I would say about 75%. Now, if this black man is in a profession where his audience that he caters to is mostly black, the odds that that baby mother is white and that's why he's keeping her a secret jump up to like 97%.
Offer it. The level of entitlement, as if Aaron Pierre owes you some sort of explanation or an insight into his life. I don't know where they're getting it. I don't know. Okay, but somehow he's been hiding his child this whole time. And the only reason why he's been doing so is because the child is white, but he's not hiding the child anymore. So what does that say about your logic? Shouldn't he still be hiding? Did the child change? Is the child no longer white? I wonder. Has he changed color?
Now, one of our favorite celebrities very quietly posted this on his Instagram 2 days ago with the caption "Sunshine," and it's obviously his hand and the hand of a baby. Now, if I had to guess, I'm not a scientist, but maybe I'm looking like this is the hand of maybe a 2-year-old, maybe. Now, in today's episode of That's Suspicious, Aaron Pierre has been in the public spotlight for what, a year and a half now, maybe, right? Like people like really caught people's attention for maybe about a year and a half now. And it's like, you had a baby this whole time and you just kind of forgot to mention that. He doesn't owe us that. He's allowed to keep his personal life private. It's like, yeah, you're right, he is. But I just think it's interesting that he's been dating Tiana Taylor for, less than a year. And that relationship has been exploited and put everywhere you can see it. It's been in our faces 24/7. So it's like, you don't want to keep your brand new relationship a secret because you don't, who knows? Like, it's fine, that's solid. But your son, maybe you weren't sure if you're going to keep talking to him. So you're like, I'm not going to feel him out and wait until I make sure that for real, all right, I'm going to do this.
So because he showed you his relationship with another public figure, in order for him to be consistent, he must share every aspect of his life now. I'm pretty sure Tiana Taylor knew about the son. What else matters? If she knew, what's the problem? Why do you think you need to know? Who are you?
You put your son through a 2-year probationary period to make sure he didn't piss you off before you decide to claim him publicly. Even if we're going to use Drake as an example, another person who kind of hid his baby from the world, right? And, it wasn't because he was particularly embarrassed by his child. And if he was an active father, then, you know what I'm saying? Like, he loved his kid. From what it seems, now he plasters his kid everywhere to try and prove to people that he be with his kid and he be taking care of his kid. And I think it was just more of, what he was actually trying to hide was that after he spent all those years pandering to blackness and performing blackness in a way that he felt was appropriate and felt was real so that people wouldn't question his blackness, right? People wouldn't question his disconnect with his black background. Then all of a sudden, he was supposed to end up and have a family and kids, which he always wanted, right? With a Serena Williams, with a Rihanna, right? Not with a white bitch. That's what he was embarrassed about. He was embarrassed that his entire life he's never felt black enough. And the way that he was going to correct that was by having black children, by having a black family, right? Like he was going to follow in the footsteps of LeBron James and make a beautiful black family. And he fucked up and instead made a more white family, right? Made it if he felt in his heart that he was barely black.
Did Aaron Pierre's son not look like the same color as him? Am I tripping? That hand picture, was it not the same color? If Drake wanted a black family, he could get that with the snap of his fingers. There's millions of women that would just line up to have Drake's kid. If he really wanted to do that, and that was really an issue for him, he could have done this way before Adonis.
He went on and made a kid that was literally 1% black. That white kid with blonde hair was going to help to invalidate his blackness that he already felt insecure about. That's the real reason why he kept that shit a secret. Now you're wondering, how does it apply to Aaron Pierre? Because we've never really questioned his blackness before, right? From the conversations that I've seen happen online, the conversations that I've had about race with British people, right? It seems that in England, from what I'm gathering, Black love and this marketing of black love the way we have in the United States does not exist over there. And black men, specifically fair-skinned black men, tend to lean more towards dating white people because they really value their proximity to whiteness. Example. It is not until they realize they can have profitable careers overseas in the US, right, where they are suddenly introduced to the idea of black.
Oh, brother. This is so bad.
Love, right? And they're explained by their agents, by their people, how profitable black love is in the United States and how much, especially as an actor, if you want people to rally behind you, it is important for you to have a black woman by your side. We watched Michael B. Jordan do it in real time when Michael B. Jordan was trying to establish himself as a box office hit maker, right? As like a leading man, right? One of the things that he needed black audiences to ride behind him, and he knew to do that, he needed a black woman by his side, which is why he did the whole fake date Lori Harvey for a year and a half thing, when we all know that Michael B. Jordan's type is white. So when he blows up over here and like he does that movie and it starts getting really popular.
You know what I realized? Black men are the only men who aren't allowed to have preferences. Now, what do I mean by that? What Aaron Pierre, Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors, what they're all displaying in their dating, what we see of them dating, is that they have preferences. They'll date a black woman, they'll date a white woman, they'll date other skin. They have preferences. But black men aren't allowed to do that. As soon as you become of status, if you date outside your race one time, that means that's what you prefer solely, that's all you want to date. And if you date a black woman in the future, it's PR. Man, I remember covering Michael B. Jordan after him and Lori Harvey broke up. That didn't look like PR, man. I remember seeing him at a basketball game. He looked heartbroken, okay? And I was joking on him. I was. I remember it vividly. That didn't look like PR, man. That man looked like he was in love.
When people start talking about him, the immediate conversation everyone's having, anyone with a pair of eyes and common sense and discernment, is like, he dates white women. Like, his type is white women. Like, I don't know why black women are going crazy over him. His type is white women. Him and his team, who have studied legends like Will Smith and Denzel Washington, understand that, again, like, you need the black audiences, specifically black women, behind you, to rally behind you, to be successful in the U.S., to be a successful actor. You need this audience to love you. You need this audience to want you. So what do they obviously do? Suddenly, he's in a very full-blown relationship with Tiana Taylor. And, like, it always gave PR to me because it's like, you guys hard launched out of nowhere. Like, there was no suspicions. There was no chatters. You weren't spotted out together. There was no rumors that you were together. And just all of a sudden, immediately, the first thing you do is post each other on Instagram. Hard launch immediately off the bat. Mind you, she's fresh off, not even fresh off a divorce. She's in the middle of a divorce. And you just immediately hard launch on Instagram? What? Now 2 + 2 is equaling 7, because according to this math, what I'm assuming is that this baby would have been what, maybe a year old when you and Tiana Taylor got together and made it official on Instagram. This is the sloppiest bit of PR work I've ever seen, ever. Here's what I'm guessing is really happening.
What does the baby being a year old have to do with anything? We don't know when him and his ex broke up. Well, I don't know. I don't think you know either, because you probably would have said it. You don't know much about his personal life other than what he chooses to reveal.
From the old pictures that were going around about him, and also from, again, based off intuition, just based off just watching his mannerisms and stuff, he dates white women, and he was in a long-term relationship with a white woman. His career in the UK is doing kind of nothing. They bring him over to the United States. He blows up. American women love him. Specifically, American black women love him. But suddenly, especially after the Jennifer Hudson thing blew up, all of a sudden people are doing research on his background, and then some videos are coming out of him like at a wedding or something it was, and they're like, oh, his long-term girlfriend is white. Like, his long-term partner is white. Like, he dates white women. And immediately, I'm saying, like, all the same demographic people that were praising you immediately get turned off. I mean, like, no, not for us. We're all set. So your PR team starts to panic because they are American and they understand that you have one chance to do this, and if you fumble it, there's no coming back from it. If you want to be an A-lister, if you'd like to be a leading man in film, right, if you'd like to dominate the box office, you need this demographic, black women, to stand behind you. So how do we fix that? Let's get you into a PR relationship with a very famous black woman who seems to be very beloved by other black women, especially now that she's going through an ugly divorce and the world is on her side, right? Like, she is winning this divorce publicly. Like, publicly, everyone feels bad about everything that she put up with. People want her to be happy, and you're gonna look like the hero, like the stepdad who stepped up when you end up in love with her and you treat her right after this guy treated her horribly. I'm sorry, it's sloppy and I'm not buying it.
Niggas love conspiracy theories, man. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the most chronically online takes I've seen in a long time. The entire conspiracy is based on the fact that he had a white ex-girlfriend. That's what this whole thing is based on. If he didn't have a white ex-girlfriend, you wouldn't, this whole thing, you would have never made it. It would have never been a thing. That's so stupid. In the UK, black people are 3% of the population. We don't have black communities. It doesn't exist. We're surrounded by white people. In the Caribbean community, I think it's like 48% of Caribbean men date out and 36% of Caribbean women date out. Because we're not surrounded by black people. In the African community is way different, their culture is stronger, whatever the case is. Honestly, I just don't get this energy towards, for the black men who come out, we reacted to it yesterday. I don't like black women. I understand that. I understand having negative energy towards these types of men. But Aaron Pierre has said nothing. We don't know anything about his life, except for he dated a white woman in the past. He's dating a black woman now. And just all his hate. Just because he dated a white woman. It's just weird.
Dark-skinned black woman being yearned for and loved out loud by someone that looks like Nick. It's like, this is beautiful. Like, this is like healing the world in a sense.
How is she not embarrassed by this? Here you have an attractive woman who's talking about she was yearning for that type of love, and the fact that she's getting it from someone that looks like Nick, a white man, that it's healing the world. That might be the stupidest shit I ever heard. Maybe she should find a way to pour that love that she's yearning for from other people into herself so she don't get on here and embarrass herself the way she just did. And let's be honest, the only reason Nick even ended up with you is because Sierra got kicked off for saying some racist shit. So you weren't even his first choice. You're the second option. The only reason they pushed those two to be together is because all the racist stuff that was happening on that show. It was basically damage control. That's why even now Nick is not claiming her as his girlfriend. Because again, we all know if Sierra was still on that show, that man would have never even looked your way.
Now look, I don't know anything about the show, but what she said, it was odd. Who says that? A dark-skinned woman being loved by a white man is healing the world. That's so weird to me. But you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna listen to a panderer. And this guy's a grade A panderer. We're gonna listen to this panderer attempt to defend what she's saying.
Then with him being a fair-skinned male and I'm a dark-skinned female, but seeing me being loved out loud resonated with my community. Like, oh, this is beautiful. Like, dark-skinned black woman being yearned for and loved out loud by someone who looks like Nick. It's like, this is beautiful. Like, this is like healing the world in a sense. You don't see this often, especially not in real time.
I see it every day. Every day. Like, that's what we're talking about, right? Interracial couples. Like, interracial couples.
This guy's essentially mocking the Nicolandria thing from Love Island USA, where he says their interracial relationship is healing. And she talks about, it being affecting for her community. Maybe the language is a little bit much, but he follows it up essentially with like, what's the big deal? And he talks about a different couple who were an interracial couple where the man was black and the woman was white. And essentially posits that, like, so what? Like, it's hypocrisy for her to be getting, like, talking about this and not really supporting him, and for him to be getting lambasted for the way that he talked about black women. Blah, 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 blah. Lots of sort of straw men. But anyway, I don't want to deal in the cultural nuances because I don't live in America, so I won't talk about them. But I can deal in data. Fortunately, receipts are...
You can't say I don't want to deal in the cultural nuances. I just want to look at the data. When you know that America has a history, that history matters. It's going to change people's views. It's going to, people are going to view shit differently because of the cultural nuances, because of the things that have happened in the past. This is a case of being so logical that you're illogical. Just looking at the data in this situation, it makes no sense.
International. So, simply according to Pew Research, by the way, 10-minute Google. I Googled this for 10 minutes. Someone else could go deeper, and I'm pretty sure find way more than me. According to Pew Research, 24% of black men will intermarry compared to 12% of black women. So that's with all races. That means that twice the amount of black men are dating outside of their race. So that's already quite a big discrepancy. When you break it down just between black and white men, however, and white women and black men will marry white women at about 7%. White men will marry black women at about 3%. So less than half. The numbers that I can find just on like Wikipedia were worse. They were from like 2010 though. Now that's just marriage. Let's talk about dating. The data for dating is surprisingly everywhere. There are so many studies. One was run on OkCupid, which isn't really a thing anymore, and others have been done about like algorithms and dating and the messages people get. And essentially what it shows is that white men were far more likely to exclude black women as potential matches. Furthermore, black men also showed bias against black women in their ratings and in their messages. There's also a lot of research to show that there's a big argument that dating app design and the algorithms amplify what they call a kind of sexual racism. Of the two that I found data on, black women get hit the hardest, and then Asian men also get pretty hard on the male side. You can then step outside of the statistics and just look at certain cultural things that are at play right now. We've been seeing them for the last few years. In the US, you've got the whole red pill ecosystem, Fresh and Fit and the rest. They are openly, constantly saying, don't date black women, I don't date black women are the most difficult, blah, 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 blah. This stuff is seeping into the head of young boys. So whilst this data may have been getting slightly better, we may be headed for a period of it getting way worse. Just here in the UK, which I know isn't relevant to this discussion, but there were so many viral clips only years ago, and I'm sure they still get made, of black boys asking other black boys, do you date dark skin or light skin? Do you prefer dark skin or light skin? These messages keep getting filtered down generation after generation. I just think when a black woman says her relationship resonates with her community, which is talking to black women here, you can roll your eyes at the healing the world bit, but if you mock the sentiment, then you also kind of ignore the reality. And the reality is there, right? Clearly, I've literally got the data in front of me. There are places where this is kind of a big deal and places where this may become even a bigger deal. Again, took me 10 minutes to find all this. Like, the searching isn't that hard.
You should have searched more because you don't understand data. So his entire premises is because black women date white men less, that her coming out and saying that it's healing the world and it should be celebrated is okay. Because we know if a black man done this, he wouldn't have the same response. And this is a grade A panderer, okay? He tried to logically break down why it's okay for women to ask men's height, but it's not okay to ask women's weight. And what's a panderer? I'm gonna use it in this context. We're discussing dating. We as men, we view the world from the male perspective. We're men. It's the reality we live in. If you want to be balanced and fair as possible, you will look at situations and you will ask for a woman's perspective. Just to see how they're viewing things, to understand where they're coming from. And then you take that in and you use that. There'll be some situations where you're like, no, yeah, the women are right. There are some situations where you're like, no, the male perspective, I'm gonna go with it. Sometimes you can see it from both sides. Sometimes it's 60-40, 70-30, you get the point. With a panderer, they only view things from the woman's perspective. Every single situation is viewed from the woman's perspective, even though he's never lived it. 3% of white men date black women. 7% of black men marry white women. What's more? Do we see the world in percentages? Or do we see it in raw numbers? We see it in raw numbers. 3% of white men is higher than 7% of black men. So there will be more white men who marry black women than black men who marry white women. Because the African American community is 13%. That would mean the black male American community is like 6 point something. Whereas the white male population is 40 something. So it's not as uncommon as you would like it to think. So your whole point makes no sense, essentially what you're saying. And this is the problem when you pander, man. You didn't even have to react to this. You generally didn't even have to react to this. You could just let it go, or you could just said what we all know to be true. This is a little bit odd. But you have to pander, and you don't understand data. You really sat on here and thought you done something. 7% of 6% is not higher than 3% of 40-something%. It's just not.
All of the women on here doing these takes about saying 50-50 with the man is actually feminism are right for you guys. Because you guys don't have what it takes to actually go 0-100 with a man. Stay with me. A woman that has what it takes to have a man pay for everything and not pay for anything knows how to trick a man out of his spot. You guys don't know how to do it, and you wouldn't do it because you actually love these men. So you do need to go 50-50 with a man. You don't know how to think clearly when it comes to making a come up off of a man. When it comes to tricking a man out of his spot, you get tricked out of yours. Y'all got stay-at-home girlfriend in your bio because you met a man that said he's gonna pay for everything. You have no job, so you're not actively building wealth. You have no emergency fund. You have no investments accounts. You probably don't have a 401k. You have no assets. You don't have anything. You have no control over your life. How is that smart? That was never the plot. You have no ring. You have no claim to anything that he has bought for you. And you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, making fucking TikTok videos, thinking that this is cute, this is my life. You lost. You lost. And that's why y'all need to go 50-50 with a man. When the women were on here years ago, y'all failed the exam. Y'all weren't truly listening. You guys got lost when it came to you can never actually love these men. The method, the recipe was to meet a very rich man and take as much from him as you can so that you can build yourself.
You know what's funny, right? A part of me wants to be like, this is the same demographic, right? That will come on the internet talking about how the dustiest, bummiest, scummiest man manipulated them. He trapped me with a baby. He played me, baby. Lowest level of education. Man, he didn't finish high school. Manipulated them. But they genuinely think that they can trick successful men, but they can. How many of these women are marrying these successful men and then getting divorced 2-3 years later and taking half of his shit? All the richest women in the world on that top list come from divorce. Now, do I think they went in it with malicious intent, like how this woman is speaking? No. And that's how they got them. I genuinely believe that most of these women were in love. And this is probably where these types of women will fail, because we might look at the outcomes of these situations and go, yeah, these men are easy to trick. But I don't think they were being tricked. I don't think these women were trying to trick them. I think a lot of them were genuinely in love and genuinely wanted a relationship, but it just didn't work out. You're going in evil. You're going in like a demon. They'll probably be able to suss you out, because where's your rich husband that you're eating off? You're making TikToks.
This liquor got me in my zone. Now I'm blowing up your phone. Blowing weed, smoking the ozone. I just can't let this go. This liquor got me in my zone. Now I'm blowing up your phone. Blowing weed, smoking the ozone.